Oh man, what a day. What's up y'all, Andrew Baina here, and what's up everyone, Andrew Baina here, and I just found out this Saturday that our band is playing our first show this coming Saturday. Hi, this is me 3 days ago, excited, full of happiness, and just, ready to play a show. Why am I talking to you like this? Well, here's the story. Well, here I am sitting in the exact same place on the day where I was supposed to be in a venue playing my first show right about now. Why, you might ask? Because our show was canceled a day before the show was supposed to happen. Before I get onto this little rant, first of all, I understand that most of you probably won't care about this, so feel free to skip this section if you just want to know about my gear. That's going to be timestamped. Second of all, luckily for us, my band Carcosa is still playing a show on November 13th in Vancouver, so if you're in the Vancouver area, please come to that show instead. Now with that being said, here's my rant about this stupid fucking weekend. So before we get into this, I just want to state that I am obviously not a COVID conspiracy theorist, nor am I anti-vax. I've got both of my vaccines and I've been following the rules pretty diligently this entire time. But these new rules are fucked. They don't make any sense at all. I'm just gonna say that straight up. So for a little context, I live in British Columbia, Canada, and basically this week the government announced that venues could return to full capacity if everyone was vaccinated that entered the building, which, sure, sounds great. But for some reason, there was a stipulation stating that you could only return to full venue capacity if your venue was seated or if it was standing. But if your venue was both, which is the case of the venue we were supposed to play, then we just can't fucking do it. So the day before the show was supposed to happen, basically we were told that the show could no longer go on. And at the same time, here's a picture from last night of a different venue where people are standing shoulder to shoulder, completely packed, and I think there was like 10,000 people there. I don't know, man. It's fucking stupid. And basically the only difference is that this venue was seated. As you can see, nobody's in their fucking seats, obviously, because as soon as the show starts, you just stand up out of your seat. So you're allowed to stand, you're allowed to not wear a mask, but there has to be a seat where you're standing. Apparently that's the only restriction, and that the venue is bigger, which to me, personally, I don't really get it, because if you're standing shoulder to shoulder with someone, why does it matter how tall the roof is, and why does it matter that there is a seat bolted to the ground beneath you? How does that magically make it safer than just standing beside someone at any other venue where there isn't a seat? Like, I don't fucking get it, man. My point is, it seems like the local government is really picking and choosing which type of thing it is allowing. And it seems basically like bullshit to me, because obviously a hockey game and a giant arena show is going to make the city more money. So they're like, yeah, that's okay. But, a 600 person metal show, they're like, fuck you, too bad. It's a pretty gross double standard, I would say. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. So I also want to mention really quickly, if you're in British Columbia and you want to sign a petition helping to try and get live music back, I don't know if it's going to do anything, but it takes like 3 seconds to sign. That's going to be linked in the pinned comment below and the description. Also, please go support Archspire. As bad as I feel for us, I feel even worse for them and any other band across the world that's had like a massive tour shut down. Like, man, at least the show was local for us, so I'm still sitting here in my basement. But man, I've heard some stories like from our friends over in Spirit Box, like they went all the way from BC to Chicago or whatever to tour with Limp Bizkit, and their fucking tour got canceled like 2 days in. So, as annoyed as I am for myself, it definitely could have been a lot worse, and it makes me feel even more empathetic than ever before towards other bands who have had it much worse than us. So, I guess in that regard I'm counting my blessings, but it still sucks, obviously. So yeah, go support Archspire, try and help them have a great release weekend despite this absolutely huge disappointment. Also, if you're interested, we are selling this hoodie online right now. We were going to sell it this weekend at the show, but of course that's not happening. So if you want this instead, you can get this online along with some other merch. And again, if you still want to come see us and you're in Vancouver, please come to our other show in 2 weeks from today, which is November 13th. So with that rant being over, we'll move on to the actual video, I guess, which was going to be a vlog of this entire show, but now it's just about the gear that I'm using for live shows whenever we actually play them. Here's the clip from when I was much more happy and optimistic. we're gonna do a little bit of a vlog on what is going on for my guitar gear, as well as kind of getting ready for the show, and of course some clips from the show as well. So let's get into the gear first and foremost. So of course, I'm sure it comes as no surprise that the main guitar that I'm using is my Aristides 080R. This is of course my custom 8-string, which has that beautiful Carcosa emblem on the 12th fret. It's a dead simple guitar. It only has a bridge pickup, which is a Seymour Duncan Pegasus, has an Evertune bridge. It is tuned to drop E, and I got no volume, no tone. All I have is on or off. No other option, just the way I like it. So this is the primary guitar that I'm using throughout the set, and probably what I will be using the whole night unless something goes wrong. And then I'm also going to be bringing this guitar as a backup just in case something happens, string breaks, or the output jack stops working, or who knows, anything could go wrong at a live show, so it's always good to have a backup. And I'm going to bring this one with me. This is my Solar Guitars A1.8C. It is an awesome 8-string guitar. Also with an Evertune, also with a Seymour Duncan Pegasus in the bridge. The neck pickup is just the stock pickup, but I don't use that anyways, it's just kind of there. So same thing, tuned to drop E, with mostly the same features, being the Evertune and the bridge. Obviously this guitar is made out of wood and the Aristides is not, but you get the point. So that's all I got going on for guitars. We're gonna switch over to the pedal board real quick, and then I'm gonna get out of here and head over to the jam space for one more practice before the show. All right, so moving on to the amp situation. I'm not actually using an amp, of course, as you can see in front of me. What I'm using is primarily the Neural DSP Quad Cortex, but I'll go through the signal path one by one. So first and foremost over here, we got the Sennheiser XSW Digital. This is my wireless digital thingy so that I can play guitar wirelessly. I don't know how to explain that any other way. Not really too much to this. It's a really simple wireless unit that just goes from here to input number 1 on the Quad Cortex. This is where most of the tone happens. I also have the Mission Engineering SP1 expression pedal. This is what I use to do some whammy stuff. So this is going into the first expression pedal slot of the Quad Cortex. And then last but not least, before we get into the tone, this is sending an output here. No, sorry, here, output 3 goes to the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 200. So this is a 200 watt solid state power amp. And then this goes to my guitar cab, whatever I happen to be using on stage. I think for this coming show, we're all just sharing stage cabs, so I won't be using my Rev 212, which I normally use. But onto the actual tone itself, it is honestly dead simple. So basically you can see here, I have a tone called Carcosa Scene. My first primary tone is just this. So it's noise gate, tube screamer, which is a green 808, of course a 5150. It's on the red channel, modeling the 100 watt amp. And then that's pretty much it for this main tone. And as you can see here, it splits after the amp to go to output 3. Like I said, that goes to my actual cab, but it keeps going through an impulse response there, and then it goes to output 1. So instead of having front of house mic my guitar cab, I can get him to literally just plug directly into this, and then it's easier for him, easier for me. Just plug directly into this and you're good to go. So yeah, my tone is really basic, but the thing that makes it perhaps a little more unique is I use something called scene mode. So as you can see, as I go through this, my tone stays basically the same and just turns off and on certain effects. So like I said, this is my main rhythm tone. And then when you go to B, it switches on this, which is a pitch shifter. You can see it's going -7 when this is at the toe position. So when the whammy is engaged, it is pitch shifting -7. Since we play in drop E tuning, this basically pitches me down to double drop A, as we call it, which we have, a couple songs that do that. C, it looks the same, but the whammy function changes so that it is going up 2 octaves or 24 semitones. So same thing, when that's going up, it's pitch shifting up. And then on patch D, same thing, except it's pitch shifting down. So it's going down an octave. And then on E, we don't have a whammy, but we do engage these two, which is a digital delay and a shimmer reverb. So this is basically my lead tone. And then on F, this is kind of a weird one. So basically the tube screamer turns off, and then on the amp, the gain goes way down, and then we add in that reverb and delay one more time. So this is kind of like a lighter gain intro thing. Basically, we only use this in the song A Plague, so I don't really use this one too much, but it's there. Lead, back to main, etc., etc. And this is all programmed via MIDI. Shout out to the other guitarist in Carcosa, Cooper, man. He learned how to program this whole thing synced up to our set, so I don't have to touch any of this stuff. It just happens automatically as we play, and the only thing I need to worry about is hitting that whammy. Makes my life way easier. Alright, now that I've shown you the pedal board and all the other gear that I'm using, that's enough talk about gear. Let's go over to the jam space and see how the rest of the boys are doing.